I'm Luna. I just turned 30 this year. Funny enough, my parents were also 30 when they had me. They've been inseparable since middle school, and even as a kid, I could see they were a couple deeply in love. They got married young, at 20, but struggled to start a family until, miraculously, I came along when they were 30. I didn't have any siblings, but knowing their journey, I never felt lonely. They raised me with much love and care. But, oh boy, my 30 years of life have been nothing short of a roller coaster. That's why I believe I've caused my parents great worry. The first time I really shocked my parents was in high school. Suddenly, I couldn't stop feeling nauseous, so my mom accompanied me to the hospital.
You're pregnant.
The doctor said. Those words stunned both me and my mom. It turned out I was carrying the child of my then boyfriend, a college student, but he disappeared without a trace when I told him about the pregnancy over the phone. He'd moved out of his place where I used to visit, and I never saw him again. Realizing I'd been fooled by the sweet words of an older guy, I was so shocked that I stayed in bed for days. I want to keep the baby, I told my parents, my eyes swollen from crying a few days later from the confines of my bed. I thought about it a lot, but I just couldn't bring myself to act as if the life growing inside me didn't exist. My parents, initially bewildered, supported me with all the kindness in the world after hearing my decision. Raising a child while still being one myself was an endless struggle, but because my parents were there for me, I managed to graduate from high school a year late while raising my daughter. The daughter I named Claire is growing up healthy, blessing me with her smile every day. Even this alone feels a bit off the beaten path, but the storms in my life were far more tumultuous. When I was 22, I lived at home, working full-time, with little Claire in daycare. No breaks, just work and motherhood, day in, day out. The one who always seemed to worry about me was a client CEO, 35 and divorced. He was young for a top dog, competent, well-liked, and I thought, a real sincere guy. He knew about my kiddo, and though we rarely met outside work, being with him was my little slice of peace. I told Mom about it, and she'd say,
You need some time to yourself, honey. Go enjoy your dates.
she'd encourage me to go out once a week. Even then, I was just a gal in her early 20s. While others my age were living it up, I was caught up in the whirlwind of housework and childcare, by choice, sure, but still. I think Mom understood how I was feeling. But 2 years later, just as Claire started elementary school, I got a rude awakening. Turns out, Mr. Reliable had a wife and kid. Given my situation, I wasn't planning on anything immediate, but I'd been entertaining thoughts of maybe tying the knot down the road. And then, his wife found out and stormed my workplace total showdown. I found out later that he was a playboy with a string of girls. He even split with his ex over an affair. He just married his current wife, who was pregnant when we started seeing each other. I trusted him as a genuine guy, so feeling betrayed again hit me hard. Worse, I had to find a new job since the affair blew up at work. That really stung, but what got me back on my feet was coming home to my loving folks and my sweet daughter. I'm done trusting men, I thought. 2 years later, out of the blue, I got a call from a high school classmate I hadn't heard from in years. It seemed one of their college juniors really wanted to meet me. Probably egged on during some drinking party or something. But, caught up in the endless cycle of work and childcare, and craving a bit of a break, I decided to meet up a few days later.
I'm sorry for asking this of you. Actually, my mom was a single mother, too, but she passed away suddenly 3 years ago. I lost her before I could really show my appreciation, you know. I just had to talk to someone who might understand what a mother feels, what she really would have wanted. That's why I asked for you.
The first time I met him, he spoke with a mix of sadness and embarrassment on his face. At first, I sympathized, sharing various stories, but his friendly nature and wonderful smile drew me in. A month after we met, we started dating. This time it's through an acquaintance, so it should be okay, I thought. By the time I was 26, There was a marriage rush all around me, and I think I had this growing desire to find someone and give my parents some peace of mind. When my younger boyfriend brought up marriage, I just believed him. Or perhaps I failed to notice the red flags. And that red flag was his need for money. He claimed his sister was sickly and hospitalized, and he needed a lump sum for her surgery. He'd graduated and was working for a foreign company, but he was just in his second year there. He earned a decent salary, but it wasn't enough for the surgery. He didn't want to get into debt, and since we'd be sharing finances in the future, he wanted me to consider it an advance on our life together. His sister was his only family, and he wanted her to have the surgery ASAP so she could attend our wedding. With that story, I handed over the money. I even offered to visit his sister, but he said she was in a specialized hospital far away and suggested waiting until after the surgery settles down. In hindsight, there were many odd points, and it was clearly a marriage scam tactic. Despite it being a scenario I'd seen in dramas and was cliched, I couldn't bring myself to doubt it. The day after I gave him all my savings, which I'd been keeping for emergencies, I lost all contact with him. The third time's the charm. I fought foolishly, fully trusting him. I really was naive. My parents were furious this time, understandably so, since I was swindled out of several $100,000. Of course, I reported the fraud to the police, but it turned out he'd used a fake name. My high school classmate who introduced us? Nowhere to be found. I was probably duped from the very start. After that fiasco, I did some serious reflecting. I've been single since then. Even now that I'm 30, I still haven't been able to give my parents any peace of mind. No matter how foolish I've been, my parents have always been on my side. I've always wanted to make them proud. As I was pondering all this, both of my parents reached their 60th birthdays. They married young, each other's childhood sweethearts, and I've always envied what they have. I want to find a real partner someday, someone to share a give and take relationship with, just like my parents. I've dreamed about it for so long. But, well, this is where I've ended up. I've put them through so much. With their 60th birthdays, I wanted to celebrate in a big way, so I stretched my budget and booked a table at a fancy restaurant. My parents love a good meal, but they're used to fast food. I wanted them to indulge for once. I remembered a new upscale restaurant featured on TV the other day, and my mom had murmured,
I'd love to go there sometime.
I kept it a secret, telling them only that we were celebrating their milestone birthdays. Even Claire, now 13, was in on the surprise, carefully keeping it under wraps. As we arrived, my mom gasped, covering her mouth with both hands.
Really? Are we really eating here?
Dad was speechless, but his wide eyes said it all as he looked at me. This is a special celebration. Let's enjoy a feast tonight, I told them. I can't exactly say I've been the easiest daughter. I wanted this day to show my gratitude for all they've endured because of me.
Grandma and Grandpa look so happy, don't they?
Claire whispered to me. They sure do. I agreed heartily. Despite my shortcomings, Claire has grown into a truly kind-hearted girl who rejoices in others' happiness. I owe that all to my parents, without a doubt. Let's go in, I exclaimed, eager to see the joy on my parents' faces as we entered the restaurant. However, the man at the reception, dressed like a hotel concierge, said something that made me doubt my ears.
I'm sorry, but we don't have a reservation under your name. We're fully booked for tonight.
What? I was taken aback, wondering if I'd gotten the restaurant wrong. I double-checked my notes from when I made the reservation. But no, this was definitely the place. I even wondered if I'd gotten the date wrong and asked them to check for any reservations in my name in the near future, but there was nothing. I was sure I had called a month ago to book. Confusion overwhelmed me as I tried to understand what was happening. At that moment, I faintly heard a conversation between staff members from the back.
Wait, wasn't the reservation for the window seat for 4 people? Has it been changed to 2?
Yo. Seems like they're some kind of celebrities.
Who?
As soon as that voice reached my ears, the staff member in front of me seemed a bit flustered. I thought to myself, no way. Did they just act like there wasn't already a reservation? But I didn't have the courage to make a fuss. It seemed like nitpicking. Yet, seeing my parents so happy, I couldn't just back down. Today, we're celebrating my parents' 60th birthday, and I made a reservation to show my gratitude. My parents have been looking forward to this. Can't you do something? I pleaded, but
I'm sorry, but we're fully booked today.
they turned me down. I didn't know what to do, just stood there, stunned, when
Luna, it's okay. Let's go to a regular fast food joint.
Mom comforted me, rubbing my shoulder, and with that, I couldn't help but tear up in embarrassment. I wanted to make my parents happy today, of all days, to make up for all the trouble I've caused them. And here I am, still causing them concern even on such a day. What am I doing? Feeling so pathetic, my vision blurred and seemed likely to overflow with tears. At that moment, an unfamiliar, imposing woman swiftly emerged from inside the restaurant and confronted the man in the suit at the reception.
Hey, is that story I just heard for real?
That.
Pressed by the woman, the receptionist was clearly taken aback.
When we came in just a while ago, you told us seats were available, right? So isn't it weird that guests with reservations who arrive just minutes after us can't be seated? What kind of management is this?
The man in the suit was frozen, sweating profusely, unable to utter a word.
I just stepped out to use the restroom and overheard an unbelievable conversation from the back. What's the meaning of this? Does your establishment categorize people like this?
The receptionist was at a loss.
Well, we would prefer if you dined, as it would be more beneficial for us if someone famous were to eat here, so to speak.
The staff member was hesitantly saying something outrageous. To those at the restaurant, we were just ordinary patrons. Moreover, we had reserved the cheapest course meal. On the other hand, there were the celebrity customers who, if pleased, might bring in more people they know. When weighed, the benefits for the restaurant were clear as day, but for me, it was an important day to celebrate my parents' 60th birthday and express my gratitude. I felt as if my heart had been torn out.
I'm sorry, but I'm leaving and will never eat at this restaurant again.
The woman declared and brushed past them. And then,
I don't want to dine at a place that prioritizes unfairly. I'm not interested in eating here under those conditions.
after telling the staff, she came over to us.
I'm terribly sorry for the discomfort caused.
Her words took me aback. It'd be one thing if someone from the restaurant apologized, but she had no fault in this. My parents promptly responded,
No. Please raise your head. Actually, we're grateful you spoke up for us like that. Thank you so much.
They bowed back.
Not at all.
Contrary to her somewhat flashy appearance, the very polite woman continued,
To make up for ruining your special time. May I offer you something in return? With this atmosphere, you can't possibly dine here, right? It's a significant milestone, the 60th birthday celebration. If you don't mind, would you like to join me?
Looking at the faces of my entire family, everyone was beaming with joy and excitement at meeting a celebrity they'd only seen on TV. Yes, are you sure?
Please.
Taking her up on her kind offer, we decided to follow her. We were then led to a large building not far away and ushered into a stylish restaurant that occupied an entire floor. This place is... I started to ask, but she replied,
This is a restaurant I co-own with a friend. We're very particular about the flavors here, so please let us treat you.
The restaurant specializes in creative Japanese cuisine. The menu was full of items I'd never seen before, and she carefully selected a variety for us. They served us so much that there was no way we could finish it all. The dishes were luxurious, an assortment of foods presented more beautifully than anything we'd ever seen. The flavors were refined, almost melting in our mouths. My parents, Claire, and I were thrilled with every dish. Considering the cost, I couldn't help but think, is this even pricier than the high-end restaurant we were at? Feeling apologetic again, I approached her. I feel bad accepting this as an apology. Please let us pay. Part of me felt sorry for her, but more importantly, today was about expressing my gratitude to my parents. I really wanted to treat them myself. In the end, she understood my feelings and accepted the payment, but I'm pretty sure she gave us a huge discount from the actual price when our reservation fell through. I was worried about what would happen, but being brought to such a wonderful restaurant, it feels like we were actually lucky, I said. She laughed and responded,
It wasn't just luck.
Pardon? I asked again, puzzled.
I overheard you talking to the restaurant staff. You wanted to celebrate and express gratitude for your parents' 60th birthday. That moved me. I have a strained relationship with my parents, and your attitude reminded me that I need to learn from you. Of course, I also wanted to apologize. But I was touched by your sentiments, and I wanted to be a part of this celebration today.
She explained. Her words deeply resonated with me. In the end, even though it was my parents' 60th birthday celebration, I couldn't do anything with my own hands. However, I realized that it was thanks to my feelings and intentions that we were in this wonderful situation. It made me incredibly happy. Throughout that day, my parents were overjoyed, and we even made a promise like, let's save up and come back to this restaurant again someday. I know I'll probably continue to cause them a lot of worries in the future, but every time, I'll make sure not to forget my gratitude and strive to express it as I did on this day. By doing so, I believe happiness will continue to watch over us.